Hi, hello, good evening, and good day, whatever it is, wherever you are. This is Strat Chat, and we are here recapping week 6 in the Australian Survivor. I was going to say house. Camp.
Famously
The
not a
Australian
house.
Survivor universe. Yeah, not house, not house. Camp, shelter. Enough. Let's just get into it. I am Kyle Petty Pasal, and I'm joined, as always, by my faithful tribe mates, John Dunphy Chong and Gina Morgino. And this is Strat Chat. You can find us on all the socials, including Blue Sky, starting next week, at Strat Chat Pod. All right, so we're recapping everything that happened on Australian Survivor. We're going to hop around a little bit because this was a very interesting week, and so many really, really fun things happened. But we kicked this sucker off with the auction is back, right? Survivor auction is back. This was relatively not noteworthy, right?
Yeah,
Other
it was
than
all food, and it was
it
all
was
good
all
food.
it was all
Yeah,
good food. Yeah, no one really got jerked. It wasn't like Survivor 45. You had to eat like fish eyes and like things
Why
like
are we
that.
still talking about the eyes? We don't gotta
Well,
talk about those.
because you said good food. I actually didn't think anything of it until you mentioned the fact that like sometimes we get bad food, right? Because that is, although we do understand that these fish eyes, gooey and all, are a delicacy depending on where
Yeah.
you are. So
Not
that's actually
fully, not
so for
fully.
you, yeah, exactly. For you not finding that to be delicious is actually speaking to the fact that you are very uncultured.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
And so am I, because you wouldn't find me out. I don't care how much money I already spent on that, but I'm sorry. I'm just going to take that as an L. I'm not going to eat that. Like, sorry. Today, I lose. But yeah, all the food here was good. But what do we see? We saw pizza. We saw beer. We saw that. Well, y'all call it a chicken parma. That's a chicken parmesan to us. But I don't care what you call it, as long as it's chicken, cheese, and sauce. I'm down. I'm
Yeah.
down with the get down.
This was definitely the weakest auction I feel like we've seen, though. Like in
Yeah.
any iteration, it was very
Yeah.
short. There was no advantages or disadvantages or gross
No,
things.
they did, of course, for Kyle's benefit, put in a toothbrush station, of course.
Right.
Dear sweet Ferris got to brush his teeth for the first time.
I'm happy that he got to be hygienic and everything, but I'm sorry, I don't believe that y'all are not already brushing your teeth. Did you see my king's teeth 3 days before this thing?
It's the bamboo,
Pristine.
Listen, at this point, Ferris is a pal of the pod, so chop chop. Where's the tea on the toothbrushes?
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on with the toothbrushes? And I'm sorry, if y'all are able to do all of that with bamboo and sand, then how come everybody aren't always doing that? Like, how many dentists recommend that? Is it 9 out of 10? Because I don't understand how your teeth can be so clean and you have absolutely nothing out there. It can't just be you're just scraping at some sticks. All right, it's got to be something better than that.
I do have to say, I have to correct myself because I will say, while watching the auction, and this is what I really meant, while watching the auction, it felt like we didn't get anything exciting, any big disadvantages or advantages, but I think we're going to go where you want to go next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you stole my segue. You stole my segue.
Boop, 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 boop.
I was going to say, there were no advantages, but there was one.
That's why I wanted to correct myself, because I obviously the biggest moment of the week came from the auction, but like the auction itself as it was happening, not entertaining or exciting to me at all.
Yeah, its initial presentation was not one that incited excitement. I understand that. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But it's more fun to kind of give it to you in a little side way,
Oh,
and
sure,
say that
sure,
you
sure,
were
sure.
incorrect, and the fact that there was an advantage given. It was hidden deep inside the popcorn. This popcorn advantage. I thought we could have a little bit more of a creative name behind it, but okay. The
I mean, if
popcorn.
we called it a cookie idol, it's a popcorn advantage.
So it was unofficially called the cookie idol. I feel like this was like really, because they even posted on the social, said the popcorn advantage, like they really wanted to sell this to
Mm.
you. So it's like, I don't know, yeah, like, come on, but it was fun. This advantage was obviously hidden deep inside the popcorn, and the advantage was that if you can get every single person in the tribe to vote for you, then none of them would count, and you would have the sole vote to evict or eliminate, or like whatever you want to
The
call it.
sole vote
Sorry.
to evict.
Sorry, this is a Big Brother house. So Raymond, purchased the popcorn, and I think he got like a soda or something like that. There was some kind of a soft drink or
I
something.
think a
Something.
lemonade, I believe.
Okay. All right. All right. Some kind of fountain selection to go with the popcorn. He purchased this for $400, which looked like that was a very bad deal.
Although I
Yeah.
I actually liked his strategy in a way, because did you notice that he paid a lot of money for this popcorn and his drink?
Mhm.
But then after that, he started the bidding in every round, which
Right,
meant
at
that
100.
yeah, every single person had to spend at least $100 or
Yes.
more than $100.
Mhm.
So like I did enjoy that, because I was like, all right, this is kind of fun.
That was fun. Yeah, no one's gonna get away with a $40 something. So
Yeah.
100. It's like, well, you have literally nothing to lose. Like you might as well throw your name in the ring there.
And then literally, like as if in a meme, sat there with his popcorn, like, okay.
Right. Very, very fun. What did you think about this advantage from the beginning? My thoughts on this are kind of actually really the same, like all throughout. This is probably not an advantage I ever would have tried to use. This is so
It's
scary to me.
so risky.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
you needed was for like two people to like do
I
something else, and you would have been gone.
honestly, when they first explained the rules to this, I was like, there is a 0% chance this is ever happening. Like, there is
Right.
no way it would ever work.
Throw it in the sea, let the waves take it away.
Pretend it never happened.
Exactly. Toss it during a challenge. What did
Yeah.
you think, John? Would you have used it?
I mean, I think it would depend on a lot of different circumstances. Like it's such a risky advantage. But I mean,
Mhm.
I guess that they do say, right, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
That is
But
what they
like,
say.
but I feel like this is something that I might be too afraid to try to pull off. It was
Right.
so there's so many layers to this like advantage, this twist, that I feel like it's like it could have gone in so many directions. Like it's just a very interesting thing. And I saw a mixture of people saying they loved it, people saying they didn't like it. Um, there was one person in particular, Owen Knight, a friend of the pod who's been on with us
Mhm.
to talk, said that he didn't love this twist, and he wasn't criticizing Raymond for the twist. He was saying that like Raymond did a great job in pulling it off, but like he said he didn't like it because he felt like it was weaponizing quitting from the game.
Oh, I did see this. I did see this.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation to have, and one I was certainly going to bring up. Like, it's an interesting thing because we just saw Scotty leave under the same circumstances, and it did feel a little is exploitative a word?
Yes.
Okay, that is how it felt, and it was like, oh, okay, so because Raymond is now acting dejected, really trying to like garner that sympathy for everyone to vote for him, and to get it in that manner, I it's it's interesting, because I could actually stand on either side of this argument.
Yeah.
Like
No,
part of
me
me,
too.
yeah, part of me says, "Hey, that's the game. Sorry, this is a game of emotional manipulation, and I manipulated you." But what does that mean for the people like Scotty that were truly having a rough go?
Right.
And I don't know. Now I also no, because now that we're talking about it out loud, there's certain things that kind of come to you once you say it
Yeah.
out loud, right? And now I also start to wonder. One of my biggest complaints with the Scotty exit was that I felt like I think we all said this. We didn't see enough of him struggling. What
Uh-huh.
led us to that point? And is that maybe why is that why the edit didn't give us that?
Oh, because they
You know,
knew where.
because they knew it was going.
Mm,
So they chose to go the entertainment route instead of really showing us where Scott was having a hard go.
maybe could be.
To maybe not exploit that in that moment, to not draw as much of a comparison, even though that's exactly what we've done here tonight. But maybe that was the thought process behind that. I don't know. Just kind of throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I totally think that's possible for sure.
Yeah. But I do think it sets a challenging precedent for people who actually are struggling. It's like these are now the people who may not get voted out because like, well, we saw what happened last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right.
don't
Well,
know.
that's
Do I buy it? Do I buy it?
right. Well, that's why I think that this has changed the game in a way forever. It's funny because it's like
Right.
you might not have actually really expected something like that out of like a Raymond. But
Mhm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I do think that this advantage and the way it was used will change Australian Survivor and maybe Survivor in general forever. Because I feel like when Scotty left, he quit and nobody voted, right? He just walked out,
Right.
right? Nobody voted for
Yeah. There's
Scotty.
no vote.
And now we have just a couple of
Right.
tribals later. It was a big spectacle, right? Everybody voting Raymond out, saying nice things about him as they go into the, into the voting booth to cast their vote. And I wonder now if like future, Survivor players will say, all right, if somebody is going to quit, they just have to say that they're quitting and they're going to leave. We're not going to vote. There's no,
Mm,
like, I don't know. I don't think
Mhm.
this advantage could ever be used the same way again.
yeah.
Right.
If it was to ever come up, because I feel like at this point, I mean, there was only a few people. Well, actually, I think there was only one person, Valeria, right, that even had any thoughts about trying to switch up the plan.
Mhm.
Everyone else was so sure that this was
Mm-hmm.
real, and I feel like any other situation like this that might arise again, people are going to say, like, "Listen, I hope you're okay. It sucks that you want to quit, but if you're going to quit, we're not voting. Just quit."
Right.
Or like at the
Or
very least, someone's gonna throw a rogue vote just to like make sure that it's not
Right, right.
unanimous.
Or
throw a rogue
someone
vote,
will.
or at least in this group, if you would have just had two that put a vote on the same person, like, oh, okay, so you guys are going to do that. Let's do Raymond, make sure he goes. But just in case there's something hinky going on, let's just put two votes on so and so,
Yeah.
and make sure they go instead. So at least he doesn't really have this ultimate power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to see um, how that might change things going forward. What do you think that means for Raymond, though? Like, yes, this was an impressive episode. We can certainly cheer him on and be celebrating. This amazing victory. You pulled it off. Great. This impossible, super, super risky feeling advantage. You did it. But now what? I feel like you would have even less people trusting you now than maybe you had before.
I
Like,
mean,
you really only have Ferris and Kirby, in my opinion.
but the thing about this is that Raymond had a wild week before we even got to the usage of this idol, because like the whole previous tribal where he is now tipping people off to the way that the vote is supposed to go. Everybody was so down to vote Valeria, and Raymond is the one now in Alex's ear being like, "Hey, the vote is for Valeria," like changing everything up. I was
Right.
honestly surprised that Kirby and Ferris were talking to him in the third episode at all. I was like, had this guy just screwed himself because in the middle of tribal, now he's turning against the people that he's working with. So I don't
Right.
know. I feel like he like this week was kind of a wild week for him.
It was a wild week for him, and like for multiple reasons, because I had the same feeling. Like I was very nervous after we saw Jaden get voted out because of Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he did a good job of explaining it away, being like, listen, I was offered this plan. They told me vote Jaden. I figured Jaden's somebody that's not in my core alliance, so I'll get him out. At the same time, he also managed to get Alex to flush his idol. So like Ferris even said at one point, so it's not really not that bad. Like once Kirby and Rihanna and Raymond and Ferris were all talking about it, Raymond was like, it's not that bad. Alex doesn't have his idol anymore. Somebody that's not in our immediate group got sent out, not one of us.
Hmm.
But I was still nervous about it. I also feel like it seems from the next on, like Ferris and Kirby might start going after each other again, which makes it seem like maybe the target might get shifted off of Raymond, even though he's one of Ferris's people, so he's still at risk. But I feel like maybe all the attention won't be focused on him so much. It might be like a Ferris and Kirby battle. Like, but I also feel like because of the week that Raymond had, if he somehow makes it to the end this week alone, I mean, he was pretty much solely responsible for taking out Jaden and Val, and we're at what, the final 9 or 8 now. Like that, those are 2 big players to take out pretty much on your own. I know Ferris helped, best supporting actor for sure. Ferris had a huge part in this, huge part. But Raymond sold. This was Raymond's move still to me. Like Raymond sold this.
I have to be honest too, like not for nothing, like, you know, I see a lot of like blindsides happen, and they're like, I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, if I was blindsided like that, I would throw hands. Like I'd be so mad. If I were blindsided like this, like if I'm in Valeria's position, I'm like, you know what? Honestly, like fine, I'm out. Like I would not even be mad. Like that is a crazy move.
She seems pretty gracious on her exit.
Yeah, she did have a nice exit. She was like, at least it's nice to be voted out by the minority. So I'm like, I thought that was a very smart thing to say. It's certainly not how I expected her to go out.
Yeah.
I know she's on my team, but I was not the biggest fan of Valeria as things went on. But I am sorry that we did not actually get to see the avenging of Viola from her. I thought that was going to lead to a little bit of something more. I think it's also important to note that the relationship between Ferris and Raymond, I think, is very, very interesting, because there's a certain level of trust that has come from this. And it's interesting that, like, even in that I guess that was Monday's tribal, where it was Raymond that kind of spilled the beans a bit on the Valeria intention that got Alex to flush out his idol.
Yeah.
The fact that you being Ferris did not now panic enough to think that, like, hey, what are you whispering? What's going on here? You still felt comfortable enough that you knew that he wasn't going to move against you. And I think that that's certainly worth mentioning, that there's a certain level of trust between the two of them that, like, actually really, really seems valid. And it seems like that's the kind of relationship you really need working in this. Like, I feel like Raymond is to Ferris as Ree is to Kirby. And it's going to be very fun to kind of watch that go. And I thought it was also smart of Ferris to not block Raymond's actions in that moment and kind of let him have some autonomy in that moment, because you never want to come off as the person who is dictating your game, because that'll build some, like, resentment. So you've got to let this person
especially after he's already been accused, mostly by, Valeria, but like he's been accused already of like taking the reins and not letting people make their own moves, and everybody's got to do whatever you say, and you're the dictator and like whatever.
Right. You're not a good leader. You're not a good leader. And it's like, so I thought that was good. But even in a situation like that, I'd be nervous to let someone take the reins, because I'm like, do I trust you, or are you going to make a move against me? Because those are the burns that we're very, very used to seeing, so
yeah,
I love the two of them. I
do too. I will say that I had the slightest bit of fear before we saw how the whole twist and everything played out, because I felt like in some of the next on stuff and like the previews we were seeing Raymond being very much like, he kept saying like, oh, I'm seen as Ferris's underling and I don't want to be seen that way. I want to make my own moves. So there was a slight fear that I had that maybe Raymond would.
What do you view as your own move?
Right. And it's like the double switch. So it's like Ferris is helping me pull this off. Everyone's going to vote for me, and then I'm going to vote for Ferris. And then like, what's a bigger move than that? You know what I mean?
Oh,
and that's,
my
like,
goodness. I'd be on the next plane down under.
Yeah, that's like,
Raymond, where you at? Where you at?
Yeah, and that's that is like truly that's the one only fear that I had with this whole twist, because I was like, why do you keep saying you don't want to be Ferris's underling? I know you shouldn't want to be anyone's underling, but like the fact that production keeps showing us. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that production keeps showing us, that like he's
Right,
saying, I don't
right.
want to be Ferris's underling, makes me feel like, well, the best way to not be Ferris's underling
Is to
is
get
to
rid
have
of
Ferris
him.
not be here.
Oh,
So like I was a
no.
little bit like I was a little bit freaking
Ooh.
out. Yeah, I was a little bit
See,
freaking out.
I
But
didn't see that. I didn't see that as a possibility, and I get that's exactly why I should not play games like this because what the hell do I know? I felt really really good about it, but you're so right, and like obviously Liz agrees too. Hey Liz, welcome back to the chat. But yeah, absolutely. No, you're totally right. Uh, I'm so naive. I just think, oh, all friendships are
I'm so
pure.
naive.
I know all friendships are pure. We believe in trust. And like, no, you absolutely. That's why my ass would be out of there so like fast. But yeah, interesting. For our listeners, Liz continues to comment. Liz is just she's one of our faithfuls. We love our faithful friends here, and Liz is always here, sharing her insight, and it's always spot on. She adds, at one point he said his vote was going to surprise everyone, and I thought even Ferris, and I was like, stop. No, didn't even cross my mind. I believed everything was super pure. I really, um, especially because I like to believe that, like, if you follow Ferris on the social media, there was a picture of the two of them like together recently,
Mhm.
and I'd like to believe that if he burned you that bad, you wouldn't be hanging out with him today. At least I know I wouldn't. I'd be like, I know it's a game, but that's
Yeah,
too much.
Kyle is absolutely the player that will never speak to you again.
I
Like,
will never speak
like,
to you again.
if
If you
I
burn me
burned
like
you,
that,
but it's like if I burned you, it's a game move. I'm just playing the game. If you burn me, never look at me and never
absolutely
talk to
not.
me.
Nope,
Never.
that's it. That's it. Forget my name. Do not get out of this house or out of this game and try to be adding my number to your phone. Don't do it. You're already blocked. You bet your ass the second I set foot off that plane. Done. Like absolutely not. No way. Oh, it's so fun. And
can
Liz
I
is
just
absolutely
say?
right. Raymond was
Oh,
looking
sorry.
mad good on Ferris's social. I really feel like I need to find out where Raymond is. Raymond is also cute to begin with. Like I was just punching him in the face,
Yeah.
but now I also
And
want
now
to
you're
hug
gonna
him.
smooch him.
I want to smooch him, and I want to buy him ice cream. You want sprinkles too? 2 cherries.
Oh my god!
2
Can
cherries for
I?
my sweet boy.
Can I also tell you that one of my favorite things from this whole twist was when Ferris entered the voting booth to
I saw you
cast his
put this
vote for
photo in.
Raymond. Yeah, I put this photo in. Look at
Oh
this
my
picture.
gosh,
Just
Oh.
look.
I'm telling you, if I ever saw that, I'd just be counting my days. I'm like, I definitely know something is about to not
This is
go
the
well
end. It's the end
for
of my
me.
life.
Right. I am in big trouble.
That's my sleep paralysis demon.
Right.
The
So
smiling
funny.
assassin.
So funny. So funny. All right, so we've been jumping all around. We did the auction. We talked about the popcorn advantage. I do want to just kind of touch on some of these challenges because I definitely think they're all better than what we do here in America.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Except, okay. So Sunday's challenge was where they had to use a rope to balance on this platform to build the bricks. Put those little like bricks or blocks, however you want to call them, and stack them up. You had to stack up 8 of them, 2 rows of 4.
God.
This had me screaming. Like Eileen, the way she's like stepping back, I was like, girl. I mean, like, oh my gosh. And like I usually am not at the edge of my seat or like challenges like this and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, this is very entertaining. I'm having a good time. This, you would have thought I was watching the Super Bowl again. It was Sunday morning with my cup of coffee. I'm like, girl, I'm like, just slow down, easy, just
Yeah.
breathe easy. You got time. But I don't think all the time in the world would have helped her. I will say that I think Kitty, at first I saw the way that Kitty was stacking these blocks. And I was like, why do your blocks look all janky? You got them all turned different ways. I think that was a really good strategy because it kind of set it just kind of distributed the weight a little bit differently. And I thought that was probably a good way to go. It was just so hard to watch because Eileen was so close. We're not talking about somebody that dropped, at 25%, 35% in. I mean, homegirl was at like
Yeah.
95. I mean, her heel was gracing the edge of the mat, at least from what I remember. Like, I was so close.
It was a rough watch.
It was a
This
rough watch, especially
was
knowing that if she didn't win this one, she was going to be out. She was going to be out.
Deepest
This was
apologies to Team Dumpy.
Oh,
This
I
was,
know.
Deepest
I know.
apologies.
John will always lament the end of this challenge.
this was an incredibly
Oof.
painful moment for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in that moment you knew you were no longer part of the conversation.
Just
Oh.
no, it was just because of how close she was,
Right.
and also I really liked Eileen and how she was working with
I like
Ferris,
Eileen too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked her.
and my good. Okay, also I think I mentioned to you guys earlier in the week before you had watched the rest of the episodes, but how gorgeous is Eileen in her jury outfits?
She walked out. I said, "Okay, dress." Like, excuse me.
She looks amazing. Yeah, no, she is gorgeous. Unfortunately, I was a little tipped off to how gorgeous she is, because of socials. So I did know she had it in her. I'm happy that everyone else got to know it though. Yeah, Eileen's a stunner. She's a stunner. I totally understand, and I respect the fact that you kept your name the same. Too often in this house, Gina, people as soon as they're picking votes, as soon as they're come on, listen, we're just being honest, right? As soon as Gina's person go on, she's out, except for Phaedra.
I stayed with Olivia's last name until literally the finale. All right.
Until it got real icky. Until it got real icky. There were certain moments that Kylan had that were not always so wonderful, and I said, I'm Kyle Petty Young. That's who I am. That's how I arrived at y'all at. Well, actually, that's not true. If we're going to be honest, I did drop Corey.
Okay, so excuse me.
Your excuse? I'm being honest. I did drop Corey because I didn't always like how he did things. So, all right. There is that. I canceled myself. But yeah,
I will be. I'll be John Dunphy Chong for the rest of the season. You can take that to the bank.
Well, yeah. I mean, who else would you be?
Well, honestly, there has actually been a week on this podcast where I was John Dunphy Petty Basil. So,
that is true.
Basil.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I can't let that.
I was gonna let it go, and Gina's
no. Basil.
Not on this Thursday. Are we talking spices? You gotta. So silly. Yeah, it is Basal. He did confirm that for us when we requested.
I know. I remember this, and I
don't know.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm an edible. I'm a full edible in. So I got this.
I was gonna let it go. I wanted to be nice, but
all right. I simply could not.
Not in this house. You're not going to give it to me unless I can give it to somebody else. And you know what?
I cannot wait for the next time Gina mispronounces something. Immediate clip.
That is true. Gina loves to. She loves to clip our flubs. That is true.
I clipped my own.
She's like, no shame.
I clipped my own.
We're tangenting. So that was that. Obviously, Eileen was blindsided. The vote was 7-4. But at least it happened when it did, because as you said, she got to be the first member of our jury. So certainly happy about that. It was really Kirby that engineered that whole vote, by the way. That's certainly worth noting. She is such a... she's so good, but she's good, she's smart, she's extremely perceptive, but I would still have such a hard time trusting this woman. She's just all over the place. And it's she says she did what she did so that she can get in better with Ferris. And it's but how does that get you in better when you didn't let him know? Even
Right.
if you even planted a little seed and say to him, like, just casually, maybe at the well, maybe down, when you're getting some seashells or something like that, whatever you collect to bring home to your family, from your big trip to Samoa, and say, listen, there's a part of me that's kind of thinking I might want to send her home because I feel like that'd be better for us. So even if he said no right then and there, and you're like, you know what? No, I know it's too soon. It's too soon. I'm just saying, just plant a seed so
Mhm.
that way it's not a blind side completely
Right.
to him, and he understands right off where your head was when you made that decision, because I almost feel like it's a little bit harder to convince someone that you were that your intentions were a little purer. If am I saying that right?
No,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
it almost feels like you're trying to make ground back up, where
Mhm.
instead you can say, listen, you already knew this is how I felt, and
Right.
I just doubled down on it. Instead of this being a brand new thought.
Retroactively, yeah.
Yeah, this is a brand new thought and I'm trying to cover. Like, so
I
I don't know. Like, how
I
do you
also
move forward with her?
right. I also just don't understand how everyone else, even aside from Ferris, still thinks that Kirby is more trustworthy than Ferris. When right, we saw
Everything he does
Valeria,
is
right?
rogue.
Like we saw
Like,
Valeria and Winna both choose Kirby over Ferris. They're both gone now, and Kirby had a part in their going, right? Like
Mhm.
mhm,
Um, and then like even everybody that's left after Kirby like has pulled off moves with Ferris, like she pulled off the move to get out, Eileen out. Sure, that was one of Ferris's allies, and then she immediately went to Ferris. Like, you know what I mean? It was like I
right.
don't like how do people not? And maybe they are now. I mean, maybe this week we'll see a change, but I feel like it's just very weird to me because like there's been no secret that Kirby has been like playing people, making moves, throwing people under the bus, and yet she still continually seems to be the person that people trust over Ferris. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like I don't.
I
It's
agree. It doesn't make any sense to me either. The only person who should trust her is Ray.
yeah.
Yeah.
To which I also have to add, I was super nervous about the fact that she shared with Ree the whole Raymond popcorn event.
I was really stressed out about that.
Because I was like, this could really go left quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, an argument can be made that, like, Ree would have she's got a little skin in the game, in the sense that she wouldn't want to share it because she then would be breaking her trust with Kirby. But like I don't and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like I've seen enough. I haven't seen as much of Kirby and Ree as I have as Ferris and Raymond. So the foundation of that relationship doesn't feel as well founded as the two of theirs. So like,
Yeah,
while
I feel that.
I don't necessarily believe that either of them would make a move against each other. I don't have the same confidence that Ree
Right.
wouldn't be like, you know what,
Right.
Curbs, sorry, babes.
I think. Well, so Ferris and Raymond have never been separated, right? Rihanna and Kirby were separated at one
And
point,
maybe
right? With
that's
that
why I
swap.
feel that way. Maybe
Maybe
that's
that's why.
why. Hmm.
Um, I also think it's interesting. The whole Kirby telling Rihanna about Raymond's plan, I thought was a little risky and maybe
Hmm.
sloppy. I also thought
Madness.
that Kirby passing her immunity necklace to Rihanna in the middle
Oh
of the
my god, I
tribal
forgot about that.
was also pretty scary
I
and
totally
risky.
forgot
And
about
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about it too, but just thinking about it now, I was like, this
I didn't
seems
know
like a
that was
crazy
something you
move.
could do.
I didn't know you could do it in the middle of a tribal. And I'm surprised that the edit at least didn't show us. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, but like no one questioned that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like,
Well,
I thought
yeah,
like whoever wins the idol wins the like, or the immunity necklace wins the immunity necklace. Like I didn't think there was ever any kind of
I
transfer on that.
I
I
I think
never knew that was a
I
thing.
think I have seen a transfer of the immunity neck. I don't remember which version of it. I think I've seen that before. I don't know if it was in the
okay.
middle of a tribal or not, though. I don't know if like somebody won it, gave it to the person, and they walked to tribal and had it on. But I feel like I've seen some kind of transfer like that before. Um, but yeah, I was also very confused by nobody questioning it. And I was like, when JLP brought it up and said, "Hey, Kirby, I noticed you just handed your immunity necklace to Rihanna. Why?" And like
Mhm.
to me, like people like Caroline and Kitty and Valeria, especially, and Mark, I would think like, if we're all voting Raymond, why is the immunity necklace being passed around?
Right.
Yeah.
Who really cares?
I
And like,
totally forgot about that.
and it also, it's a smart move on Kirby's part, because what it also says is that I sort of knew, it's sending the message that like, this was not, this didn't completely take me by surprise, and I was protecting my own. Where like, because now it's going to be interesting to see how, especially Ferris, but between Ferris and Kirby, especially after having made this move, it's going to be interesting how you separate yourself from it.
Mhm.
It's almost like you have to now be like very gratuitous and like kind of give Raymond all the credit for pulling this off, even though Ferris was instrumental in making it happen. It's almost like you have to say like, oh, wow, I can't believe you did this, which feels a little bus throwy. So that'll be interesting,
even
like to
like
kind of watch.
I did notice, because I was curious how this was all going to play out once it was revealed that this idol was a thing, or like that this
Right.
advantage was a thing. And I did clock Ferris at one point, like he goes to play the thing. He's like, "Oh, you guys are gonna hate me." And he walks over, and I saw in the background Ferris being like, "Oh," like he jumped up, like, "Oh my god, like what just happened?" And
Right.
acted like he was totally shocked that anything was going on. So I don't know. I feel like he's
Right.
gonna act like he didn't know what was happening.
Right. And how
Well-
believable is that for people, especially when Kirby has now made this move to give her necklace? Because what that signals to me is that people knew that this was a thing, and Kirby was a little nervous about the possibility that Ree being the person that goes,
Right.
but also her feeling secure enough in the relationship that she has with Raymond. That's what's interesting here, because she doesn't really have, from what we've seen, a relationship with Raymond.
Mhm.
She seems to have this kind of like a relationship and a trust with Ferris. So her doing that means that she's nervous because she thinks that maybe Raymond might do this to Ree, but she felt secure enough to give it up that it wouldn't be her. And where did you get that trust? Why do you feel that secure? Because of your relationship with Ferris. So that means Ferris must have known, which means Ferris was part of this plan the entire time. And it's like, ooh, yikes!
Right.
Like,
Well,
there's a lot
If you're
there.
perceptive enough, you can really like connect a lot of dots here.
Right.
Yes,
Well-
yes. And I feel like the passing of that really set off a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny too, because I noticed Ferris acting shocked when Raymond pulled off this move. I
Mhm.
also noticed Ferris, as people were leaving, you could hear Ferris saying, "Man, Raymond, even I'm scared of you." Like he even vocally was trying to
Mm.
express that like, he was surprised by it. But in the next on, when everybody was circled up on the beach and it was still nighttime, so you could tell it was right after they arrived back at camp after tribal. It sounded like Caroline. It sounded like Caroline to me saying, "You guys played that so well." So clearly they have figured out that it wasn't just Raymond. So I'm wondering, like, it's funny because it's interesting to me that Ferris is saying, like, "Wow, even I'm scared of you, Raymond." Like acting surprised. By the time we get back to camp, people are saying, "You guys played that so well," and I'm just wondering how that first conversation is going to go. Like, is Ferris going to fess up to it, or was Caroline? Is Caroline referring to somebody else other than Ferris? Like, is she referring to Kirby and Raymond because we saw Kirby passing the necklace and Raymond pulling off the move? Like, I don't know. But I'm just curious. I don't think it's a clear cut answer about like how like things are going to be at camp when we get back
it's definitely
there.
not.
Yeah.
No, it's not clear. It is not clear.
It's things are going to
That's
be
what makes it
very
exciting.
all over
Yeah.
the place. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm happy that this is how the episodes kind of like shook out. That now we have this kind of time like to kind of vacillate on this whole thing, to be
Yeah.
really excited about Sunday. It was a little anticlimactic if this was like Tuesday's episode.
Right.
And we're like right back into it. So I'm kind of happy for the way that this shook out. Lots of really fun things to look forward to. I don't think we have done Jaden enough justice here. I feel like we didn't really speak about him enough.
I knew I was gonna take a hit this week, and I did not expect that this was going to be the hit I was going to take. I was really bummed about this.
I didn't think so either, but I do think that it's a good move to have gotten Jaden out at this point.
Yeah.
This is where Raymond was kind of whispering around that he's really the one that kind of charged this one, because the vote was supposed to be Valeria, like we said before, but it was because he tipped that off to kind of now move this to Jaden. Despite the now, what's also important to note here, though, is that there was a movement because again, you've got Ferris and Kirby that are very, very perceptive to everything that's going on. They tried to switch that vote to Alex.
Yep.
And that didn't flesh out, and we didn't really get to see any blowback from that because we were so consumed with Raymond and the performance that he was putting on to be able to use this advantage. So it'll be interesting to see now how Alex moves with them.
Right.
I do think it served his game well that he tried to use, well, not tried to use, he did use his idol for Valeria to protect her. So it does make him look like a real one in this situation. But, you know, again, I don't know that that was enough to move you up on the totem pole in terms of this OG Titans alliance. You know, you got Caroline, you've got Kitty, unless you want to build off the fact that Kitty was ready to kind of say Caroline. We have to really flesh that one out and see if there's actually, if that has any legs like to it, you know, but unless you exploit that a bit, how can you even with that, Valeria's gone, so you can't build off of that because she's out of here now. So are these people going to really respect that more than the relationship they already had? I don't know. IDK.
Also, just about the whole Raymond thing too with Jaden, because I don't think anybody was expecting Jaden to go, right? And it was just, I feel like part of the reason Raymond didn't get as much blowback as maybe we would have expected is because both Ferris and Kirby knew that Jaden had to go at some point. He might have been a number for them in the moment, but like he was, if not the biggest physical threat, one of the biggest physical threats. And at the end of the day, they not only flushed Alex's idol, but they got out one of the biggest competitors in the game without having to do anything, get any blood on their hands on, you know, of their own. So it's kind of like, in a way, like we could be pissed at Raymond, or we could continue to use him to our advantage here. And he also did a bunch of like dirty work for us without us having to do anything.
Sure.
But again, I still say that at the end, if Raymond gets to the end, the very, very end, making a case, you know, to the jury, this is a big week for Raymond.
Oh,
if he gets to that point.
This is an amazing week for Raymond. Do you think he has a path forward? We've got 3 episodes next week. Do we think that Raymond makes it through 3 tribals, though?
I think it depends on what we see happen with like Ferris and Kirby here. If they are rallying numbers against each other, and again, that doesn't mean that we couldn't see Raymond go, but I think it just depends on how this all goes, because it looks like Ferris and Kirby are going to be going after each other. So if we lose one of them or both of them, or if Ferris comes out on top and gets rid of one of Kirby's allies or herself, like Raymond might be okay. I think so much is going to depend on what happens in this Ferris-Kirby battle.
Yeah, there is a world in which he can kind of like slink back into the background and let the big dogs go at it, and then he just kind of like like flies under the radar a little bit.
He might benefit from like the attention being taken off of himself because of like other bigger players going after each other. He could still end up as a victim, because if like Ferris plays an idol for himself, Raymond might just go because of that, because maybe they'll split votes on Ferris and Raymond. Like that could easily happen. But if Ferris and Raymond play it smart enough and people aren't as pissed off at Raymond after this move as maybe they should be, maybe he skates by and, you know, long enough to make it to the end where he can make a case for himself.
That's interesting. I can't wait. It's also important to note that, you know, Ferris also still has an idol, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like in this battle between Ferris and Kirby, if like, let's say Kirby's, you know, rallies more numbers and says, let's split it on Ferris and Raymond could still go home. But if if Ferris' side comes out on top, maybe, you know, Raymond survives.
Yeah, this comment is exactly what I was going to say.
John, hey Jono, welcome back. Jono says, I feel like it's going to be either Ray or Riri.
That's where my head's at too.
Yeah, I'm fine with a reboot. Period.
Yeah, I mean, she won 2 straight immunity challenges. She was wearing the immunity necklace at Tribal Council for 3 straight. You realize that Rihanna had the immunity necklace on for every Tribal Council this week? When all is said and done.
No, I hadn't, because I
hadn't
feel like even with that, I feel like she's very forgettable. I don't. I know. I'm sorry. I do think she's a really great like physical competitor, but I feel like strategically she's always on the wrong side of things.
My
Like she
goodness,
just
there
doesn't.
is.
Oh, right. HR. Welcome to HR manager. It's too bad. We've been singing your praises all night. You missed it
I
all.
know. So you are gonna have to answer for that toothbrush segment. Was that the first time you brushed your teeth? We have to know. We really have to know. There's a discrepancy
The
about the
thing is,
toothpaste.
they are all survivors are going to say that they do not have toothbrushes, and I just find that to be complete poppycock. Okay. Your teeth
I,
are entirely too clean to be sticks and bamboo and coconut
Ferris, this has
water.
been a conversation for seasons. All right,
Sorry,
Kyle does not. Kyle calls
sorry,
ballots
Ferris,
on
your
no
teeth. Because
toothbrushes.
I don't understand why the dentists are not recommending whatever y'all is doing. Because it's clearly all natural, right? So why wouldn't they recommend it? Your
Ferris
teeth are
says that
cleaner.
yes, it was unfortunately
I
his first time
see.
brushing his teeth.
Listen, I do not like to speak out against my king, but I
Oh well,
just
here's a
don't
good point
buy it.
too.
Remember, Kaya, we're only eating rice and beans. Okay, so on a day that maybe you only have one thing to eat, like, and you don't brush your teeth for one day, even in the regular world, like you can feel the furry. You can feel the furry.
Feel the furry is
I'm
terrible.
just saying, like, you can sit back and go, yikes.
Oh,
We have to
ew,
take care of that, right? It's time
gross.
to brush our teeth. Like that is just that it's just facts. All right. I didn't make it up. All right. I'm not the ADA. Donna wants to know, what about the fish? What about the fish? Actually, I haven't seen them doing any fishing, to be honest. No one seems to be eating any fish. Y'all is not eating good, actually, on this season, right? It's just coconuts, people complaining about like what coconuts are good enough, like Kirby being offended that you didn't like her coconut.
See, I
Okay,
think
see,
Charcoal for the
oh,
yeah,
fire
this
and
this
salt
I'm more
water
on
to
board
wash.
with.
they're
I'm on
not
board
eating
with
much to
charcoal.
begin with. Ferris says they use charcoal from the fire and salt water to wash.
Then how
Um,
come 9 out of 10 dentists are not recommending what you are doing?
well,
Charcoal
because
toothpaste is a thing,
well,
though.
yeah, charcoal toothpaste is a thing. I also think
Oh,
that
God.
probably just in general, brushing with a brush and toothpaste is probably best for you. But in Survivor, the best you're gonna get is bamboo, charcoal, and salt water. So like that's why it's not recommended, but it's also why teeth can still look fresh on Survivor.
He hates it.
It's not just that their teeth look fresh. Okay, their teeth look TV ready.
Well,
I have
maybe
never sat back and like been skeeved at all. Even the
may-
most disgusting, like people show up in like tattered shirts, like just dingy, dirty. They look so gross and greasy, but their teeth are absolutely pristine.
well,
I'm
maybe
sorry. There is a secret toothbrush. It's hidden behind the
Maybe
well.
the teeth
It's
just look
behind that
pristine
tree
because
over
in
there. Like,
comparison to how busted they look everywhere else, the teeth
right,
look
oh,
really
that's true.
I
nice.
don't
Yeah.
listen. Like, I
Well,
want to believe it. I
also,
do, but I just the teeth thing is just. I come on, y'all.
listen. How when we post pictures and videos online, do we not sometimes use filters or edit? Maybe the editing team is making the teeth a little whiter because they know people don't want to stare at yellow teeth all episode.
That even just seems like a lot of extra work than just giving me tools to toothbrush and hiding it behind that tree over there. You know, like, that's all. That's all. I'm more inclined to believe it because Ferris said it. Yes, I am biased. You can see it in my name. I don't have to hide it. But like, I
Ferris
just,
wouldn't lie to us.
come.
That's not
I'd like to
bullying.
believe he wouldn't, but like, you don't know what's in people's contract. There's only so much they can say, and like, this is the survivor's secret. The international survivor secret. Okay. See, Jono, Jaden has perfect choppers. Have you guys not noticed? No, I did. And that's where this argument comes from.
That's the
I
problem.
mean, you said chompers. I mean, choppers also worked, at least in America. I'm calling it chopper. That doesn't mean it's right.
I still think they don't brush their teeth. I think they just have other ways. They're not eating much. They have other ways of cleaning them. So Ferris says Jaden also has veneers,
Fair read.
which I also could tell from the edit. Not gonna lie.
Okay. All right. I'd like to say that I've been silenced out, but I'll keep banging this drum elsewhere. Maybe not down under. I'm done with it here. But when we do Survivor 46 on Monday, I'm right back on my bullshit. I'm sorry.
I guess clearly the answer for this is just for one of us to play Survivor, and then we'll know.
Won't be me. I'll never
I
know.
nominate Mikey.
Yeah, sorry.
He's not here to defend himself.
Laying down in some camp, ants in my ear.
Kyle, Ferris is calling your trustworthiness into question here. Kyle, I wouldn't lie to you, says Ferris.
I really don't think he would. No, I know.
He would never.
No. Ferris and I right here. We share a lot of secrets. And I don't blab.
Heart to heart.
I don't blab. You can watch this one back. I kept my mouth shut.
Heart to heart.
I am a good fucking soldier. Okay. But I'm hesitant on this one, you know. Can you imagine being fired by Ferris, by the way?
I would cry.
I would cry and also say, is this such a sad day? I got to sit down and have a one-on-one.
Kyle said, you know what, at the end of the day, worth it.
Right. I was fired. That sucks, but at least Ferris did it. I can say
at least.
Oh God!
Like, how was your day today? Not too bad. I got fired, but it was from Ferris, so
not too bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm stupid. So stupid, but that would be me. Like honestly,
oh man,
if I had to be fired, happen in the best way. And honestly, if I'm looking at this objectively, obviously it was my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. So I have what I got what I had coming to me. It's silly. So yeah, so that's that, you know. Oh gosh.
I can only imagine.
Ferris said, you should see the Survivor fans I had to interview. That's the other thing. Never mind being fired. Can you imagine being hired? I'm like, hello. Like, there's no way I probably just drop.
What could you imagine just walking into a job interview, not knowing who's going to be interviewing you?
Yes.
Could you? Yeah. No.
I would just.
Could you imagine sitting
down?
No
I cannot show how productive or effective I would be in any way. I had to sit down and explain myself to him.
sitting down in an office for an interview, and the smiling assassin comes in to interview. You just see this face across the table.
Welcome to my office. Tell me what value you can add to this company. I'd be like, honestly, up against you, none. So should I just leave now, or what should I do with myself? Should I just go?
I love it.
Wow.
Jono wants to know if we cover. I'm assuming this means Traders US. Mm-hmm. Traders US. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We'll be recapping the finale on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Yeah. We have a good time. We don't know actually what happened, so don't spoil us. We didn't watch it. All right.
Yeah, we haven't seen the finale yet.
Yeah, so. No. I spent my time in between streams tonight watching the State of the Union address. I watched like half of that, and then I had to finish Australian Survivor. Ferris, that's why I didn't DM you. All right, I hadn't finished. All right, life got in the way. I'm sorry, but I'll be annoying you again on Sunday. I'll be back. But yeah, no. So 7:00 on Monday, Eastern time, we'll be recapping the Traders, and I guess we'll also just hop right into the reunion because like there's going to be a lot of good stuff, I'm sure, in there, including the first time Phaedra and Dan are seeing each other since the burning. Delicious. I would say after this stream, I know I'll be watching.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I can't stay off social media that long. Like I gotta see what the hell went on here. I don't want to get spoiled by somebody tweeting. I need to see it for myself. But is that it? Anything else for Australian Survivor? I think
I don't think so.
I'm just pumped. Here. I mean, yeah, what do we got? Is there 8 people left now, right? Yeah. Since Valeria left. So yep. And we got 3 episodes coming up this week. So we are right at the pointy end, and I'm so excited.
We are. We are. It's interesting that you're excited because you don't have any skin in the game.
Well, you know,
This is over. Like we might as well before we get out of
no,
here,
that's
let's
fine.
preview our draft teams. Right. Yeah. Team Dunphy is out of the chat.
I am. I'm out. I'm out. But at least, listen. At least I still have one that's a part of the game until the end. With Eileen.
All right.
She,
Yes. Yes.
she gets to
Fair
decide something
enough.
at the end. Help decide
Your
something.
lady
So.
does have a vote. Right. She does have a vote. In second place, moi. My king, still number one draft pick for me and for the pod, right? This
Yeah,
is the
first pick of the season.
period. My king. I have stood by him through the whole thing. So 6-0. I still have Alex, which I'm not too high on Alex right now. I wouldn't mind swapping him for somebody else, but I don't think he's in the worst spot. And then we still have Mark. Who is not really doing terrible either. I'm not in such a bad position, but no one is doing better than Gina.
My team is killing it.
Your team is killing it. You've got Kirby Rihanna, who we have already said probably in some hot water, right? It's starting to get a little warm where she is, a little warm. However, Caroline, she's also in some heat. I think Raymond could have an issue going into this week. Again, we got 3 tribals.
It's a toss-up, yeah.
Yeah. And Kitty, you know, if Kitty follows through on a little bit of the separation she was starting to set up with the Caroline situation, she could be seated a little better. It seems that people are endeared towards her. So, Jono.
No.
No, everyone's allowed to like who they like. Everyone's like allowed to. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, you know. Because I will say that Kirby is fantastic. I mean, she's great.
Oh yeah.
Dark, so I want to drag that jacket up to Caroline. The way I hope Valeria. No, I guess we know she didn't. Right? She wasn't wearing it on her way out.
Nobody is allowed to like who they like, unless it's Ferris.
Right? Unless it's Ferris. No, not fair. Not fair. Come on. Well, I mean, if the king said it, then sorry, Jono, you're not in my alliance. The king has spoken. I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah, Caroline and freaking Nathan's jacket. Like, I don't know who you think you are telling her that she can't take it out of the shelter. She don't want it to get wet. That's the only thing that keeps her warm. Well, you should have thought about that before you came out here. All right, because that wasn't even yours to begin with. And I wonder what Nathan thinks about that, because that doesn't, you know what I mean? Because that jacket, that actually looked like probably something that had some like significance to him.
Yeah, I could just picture him sitting home being like, God, I can't believe I left my fucking jacket there.
Yeah,
he was sitting there like, that's where I left that.
Yeah, I can't believe fucking Caroline is fighting people over it. Is he wearing it in this picture? No. The only picture that we have of him is him wearing it there, and it's like, I don't know, all the little badges and things that's on it. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's got to be kind of important to him.
Because, like, when
Caroline
you think back,
is saying that somebody else doesn't have a right to wear it. Well, who
like,
the hell are you?
When you think back to Nathan, right? Like, he was part of that Cuddle Alliance, right? Which feels so long ago now. But Caroline, it's not like Caroline was part of that Cuddle Alliance.
She most certainly was not.
What makes you think that you now have ownership over this jacket that somebody owned before? Like, you never were close with them or friends with them.
She said, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it.
It's mine. This jacket is mine.
Oh wait, I'm being corrected here. Darkstar says that was the other tribe. Nathan was a Titan. Nathan was not part of the Cuddle Alliance. That was the Rebels. But
oh right, because the Cuddle Alliance was Alex.
That was Tobias, Alex. Yeah, thank you, Darkstar. Thank you. Yeah. But still, Nathan was not. I don't remember ever.
That feels like 407 years ago.
Yeah. I was like, Cuddle Alliance.
Like, not that any of you are American. Like, you don't even know what we're talking about 407 years ago. Google it. It's an important part of American history. That's so
Oh
silly.
my gosh, so
Oh,
stupid.
jeez. All right, I think that truly is it now, right?
Yeah.
So Gina is the one who's really set up the
Mhm.
best.
Like I said, I knew I was gonna take a hit this week. I just didn't think it would be Jaden. I thought I had a couple of people who were in trouble before Jaden.
Certainly Caroline and Kitty beforehand.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
am actually like from a game point of view, like Jane didn't really do anything that bothered me, so this is not nothing against him. But because he was so strong physically, I think it's more interesting for the game and the way that it can unfold that somebody who is such a physical threat is gone so early. Because I think we have discussed before on the pod about how somebody like him could just kind of win out, which is the same reason why you need to kind of look at Rihanna because she's really been successful. Like John noted, yes, Kirby gave her, her the immunity necklace this week, but otherwise she earned it on her own
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I
well,
do
actually,
feel
no,
like
she didn't get it twice because Kitty won on Sunday.
oh, that's right. So Rihanna's win this week was just her second win overall. It wasn't her second in a row. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah, because Kitty beat Eileen in that
Mhm.
block thing. But either
That's right.
way, she's not really because she was right up there with Eileen during that. I still that ramp and rope challenge. Like when I think back to that, like that one looked like one of those physically exhausting and challenging ones we've seen. Like we certainly have seen the ones like with hanging on with the knot over the water and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. But like there was something about being out in that beating sun when Eileen just really just like beasted that whole thing and like she took out Kitty and Rihanna in that moment. But Rihanna was the one that was up there with her the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that Eileen's gone, I feel like if you're looking at physical strength and now that Jaden's gone as well, um, it's Rihanna and Kitty.
Yeah. Rihanna and Kitty have by far performed the best in challenges. So
Mhm, mhm.
I also will say Gina's definitely you're set up the best, Gina, team wise with the amount of people that you have going on, still going on to next week. But I will say a comment we saw earlier was that we could easily see either Raymond or Rihanna, maybe
Yeah.
both go out next
They're both
this
on my
week. They're
team.
both on your team. And then when you throw in Caroline and Kitty, there's a chance that you and Kyle's teams could be evened up after this week.
Oh,
For sure.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
I'd like that. I'd like an even up. I'd like an even up.
It's just it's funny because I feel like Gina still has the most players on her team right now, but I also feel like Kyle has the strongest players that are left on his
I'd
team
agree.
in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it's interesting because I think that the people on Gina's team have larger targets on their back than mine do.
Yeah.
Like I think that Alex is tricky. Renee is here.
Renee!
Renee!
Renee Mior. Give me
How
more Mior.
fun!
Give me more
Give me
Mior.
Mior. I
How
love it.
fun!
Oh my gosh. You have to come back, right? Like we
Yeah,
want to
I
have
didn't get to
everybody
hang out
back.
with you last time. You have to come back
Right.
for me.
And Shania's coming on, so well, I want that one to be separate. Sorry, really want to meet her. I want to have a special moment with her. But you are certainly welcome to come back on your own. Everybody deserves their own moment with us. And we would like to believe that we deserve our own moment with you. So not to toot our own horn, but toot, But the door is always open. Hope everything's well with you, pretty girl. Oh,
God, love you, Renee. Oh,
so many lovely friends passing by,
I
hopping
know.
in the chat, chatting with the fools. You hate to hang up now, but
I know.
it is 11:25.
Yeah, it's late for us.
We're sleepy people, sleeping
Yeah,
people.
I think there was a brief throw out that hey, it'd be great to be done by 11 tonight.
It was.
We always say things like that. It has never
Mhm.
once worked out.
It was like, oh, quick pod tonight, quick pod. False sauce. But that's okay. It's been a real blast. Love everybody coming to hang out. We miss you too, needless to say.
Yeah.
Miss you too, you beautiful thing. So what do we have coming up? Monday, as we said, we are wrapping up the Traders US at 7 p.m. That's actually why we have to get off now, so we can go watch that finale. So y'all don't be spoiling us on the socials. And then at 9 p.m., Survivor 46, America. We'll be back with our good friend Mikey. Then we'll be watching Big Brother Canada all throughout the week, probably not doing the digital dilly-dallies, right? Unless something really kicks off and we find something on social media that makes us want to tune in, but otherwise we skip in. And we'll be back on Thursday. I'd like to say 8. Give us some time to have some dinner. 8 p.m. 8 p.m.
8
You can 8 and then of course 10:15 for Australian Survivor. John has been very, very gracious to make sure that we have our schedule posted on Sundays. Schedule Sunday for Strat Chat. Strat Chat schedule Sunday. So you can get the confirmed time for BB Can recap, but 8 o'clock feels nice and safe. You can find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod, including the Blue Sky. We are kicking that sucker back up. Okay. That's it. Any final words?
No. Can't wait for next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be a really, really good week. Thank you to everyone who hung out tonight. Really nice night, and we're out of here. Thanks a lot.